Hello and welcome, dear listeners, to episode 254 of the Reformed Gamers, a show all about theology, games, and apparently my voice cracking because it's been a while since we've recorded an episode. I'm one of your hosts, Logan.
And I am his co-host, Micah.
Micah, it's been a while.
Yeah, man.
Since I've said this, but 2023, man, what a time to be a gamer. Quite possibly the greatest time to be a gamer.
It was,
if I do say so myself.
It's so intense. I had to take a break from the podcast. I couldn't play all the games. I couldn't keep up. I just had to take off last episode. Shout out to Nate McKeever for hopping on for me. Yeah. And but yeah, dude, of course, just anytime. I'm so excited every single episode to just look at the doc and see what you're putting in. What are we playing?
Yeah.
Of course, we got another banger here this episode. Mm-hmm. So yeah, 2023 keeps on rolling.
Just keeps on giving, man. It's like Christmas, but all throughout the year with the with this show here to a degree. And yeah, we've got a lot of fun things to talk about. I mean, Spider-Man 2, of course, is going to be the big one.
Oh yeah,
that we'll be talking about along with Super Mario Wonder. But yeah, man, and even some news items that I don't know. This year, just gaming alone we should be used to it by now. But it seems like every week or every other week, we get something that's just like, like the, was that Home Improvement sound? Intro? Yeah. Oh man, that's a bit of a deep cut. You know, it's funny in my robotics thing, I have a student that literally like has all the tools that we need to build our robot. And I call him Tim the Tool Man. And of course he doesn't, he just thinks it's a funny nickname. I'm like, no, it's from Home Improvement. Oh, that's right. You're too young.
Yeah.
You're too young to even get that reference, but it is what it is.
Logan, did you ever watch Saved by the Bell?
No, I was a little too young for that. I remember seeing it and like being somewhat familiar with it, but that was something that like my older
anyway, speaking of like old sitcoms that the kids don't like, one of the actresses from Saved by the Bell, who played Kelly Kapowski, Tiffany Amber Thiessen, she is an actress in this. She's like the mom in this like kids sitcom that my kids like to watch. And I'm like, oh man, I'm old. so you can't be making Tim the Tool Man references around your students like that.
Man. No, I can't. They just don't get it. I don't know what I'm thinking. What I am thinking though is it's been a while. We're finally back. And we got to talk about some games, man. Let's not waste any time, man. Let's get into a little bit of what we have been playing. Micah, dude, kick us off, man, with some TRG Kids. What are your kids getting into?
Yeah, a lot of the same old, but the one game that has kind of cropped back up that is sort of a perennial, just kind of comes back. Like every now and again, they're like, hey, Dad, can you re-download Crash Team Racing? And so my two youngest are getting back on that. My oldest is too cool for it. She's just up into Minecraft, getting into all the multiplayer modes still. Okay. But Crash Team Racing is one of, if not the best kart racers to ever exist, in my opinion. And the kids are playing it. You guys know kart racing. You know Crash Team Racing. This one's a lot more skill-based, I would say, compared to something like Mario Kart. You've got it, like you must do your drifts and things like that if you're going to win a race. Crash Team Racing is a classic that they kind of revamped. Activision is under the Microsoft umbrella now, and so great game there. So that's TRG Kids. As far as what I've been playing, of course, it's Spider-Man 2. But first, I got to talk about briefly this. This is a while ago now. I mentioned a few episodes ago I had bought a couple of indie games, and one of them was this game called South of the Circle. This is a game developed by a studio called State of Play. It came out late last year, and it is a indie adventure game, like narrative adventure game where you are this like Cambridge University academic researcher, kind of a young man. You get a group of friends, and you're being asked to go on this researching assignment in Antarctica. and there's sort of some political reasons there because it takes place in the Cold War. And long story short, your plane crashes in the Antarctic, and you are stranded, and you're getting out, and you're trying, and you discover there's these secret Soviet bases in this place that there's not supposed to be any, and there's all the mystery. There's a love story involved. It's very good narrative, and it's a fun little 4 or 5 adventure game. 4 or 5 hour
Okay, I
adventure
was like
game.
4 or 5. What?
Excuse me, I'm a little tired tonight. A 4 or 5 hour adventure game. So this was it was so long ago now since I've played it. It's been a couple of episodes, but I didn't want to skip over this one. This is I would recommend this little indie game. You can get it for about $10. It's for everything: Switch, Xbox, PC, PlayStation, and it's worth a shot. I would say if you check out a trailer and you like what you see, South of the Circle is a good game.
I think I have this on my PlayStation because the art for it and even the trailer now, I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
think I booted this up at one point, but
It's
I
very
didn't sync with
intriguing.
it.
It's definitely like a the main gameplay emphasis is like which kind of dialogue choice are you going to use, or like these sort of moods. Like I've got sort of the happy mood, the angry mood, and like these other sort of moods you can be in as you answer. And so
Hmm.
it's a lot about your replies and choices that you make, and then a little bit of kind of walking around, exploration, adventure kind of stuff going
Okay.
on. But
Wh-
but yeah.
When
Sorry, go
you
ahead.
when you play games like that, do you typically like how do you play them? Do you typically try to make all the good choices, or do you like venture out and do the angry or the bad ones or things like that? Because
I yeah, I guess I try to be a good guy generally. I
Mhm.
try to respond how I would in most cases,
Yeah.
but in this one, I found it difficult, because they give you a timer, like, all right, you got 5 seconds to make your decision. Go ahead, hurry,
Oh.
hurry, hurry, that kind of
Oh.
thing. You don't have
Okay.
forever to just sit there. At least if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's just like, well, it's not giving me three like phrases. I'm going to say it's like three sort of feelings. And so you don't exactly know what's going to
Oh,
come out. So you're like, well, I'm going to
interesting.
respond to this one with aggression. I'm going to
Yeah.
respond to this one sort of passively, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
It's
Huh,
it's a
that's
good
cool.
time. It's definitely I wanted to shout it out into all these games that we have going on. This is a good one to not overlook if you got a few hours and $10.
Okay. Right on.
Um, okay, Spider-Man 2, the sequel to, if you know me and you've been listening to me, one of my favorite games of all time. I absolutely adore uh, Marvel Spider-Man from 2018. And this sequel was highly, highly anticipated by me. And I'm not disappointed. I'm not disappointed. I would say, everything about this game in general is an improvement over both the original and Miles Morales,
Mhm.
except for maybe the script, kind of
Okay.
the beat to beat writing. The overall plot, I'd say, is on par or better than the first game.
Mhm.
But some of the writing didn't land with me. Some of
Okay.
the kind of moment to moment, while exciting scenarios, I felt some of the writing was lacking
Okay.
comparatively. It felt a little more Marvel movie ish to
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
this go around.
Yeah.
Um, so that was probably the only thing that uh, trended down compared to the last game. Um, so let's start with, I think, the most important piece, which is the traversal
Mhm.
and how you get around New York City. The new thing in this game is the web wings. So you can just do your web sling and then just hit the triangle button and boom, you're gliding through the city. You can grab
Mhm.
these wind tunnels where you can just sort of shoot through and gain a lot of speed. You can
Mhm.
peel on out of them whenever, or just kind of go through the whole thing. Um, just the web slinging, just in general, is way faster. You can feel that SSD of the PS5 working.
Mhm.
And let me tell you, I just came off of playing Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales with the kids and everything, and I wanted to refresh it. Coming off of those games and then playing Spider-Man 2, it's like night and day.
Yeah.
This is the best locomotion in a 3D video game ever, in my opinion.
That's a quote that needs to go in the box.
Yeah.
Best locomotion.
Yeah. No, I'm a huge locomotion guy. Like games like Infamous, I think do a really good job with it. Like the original Infamous.
Mhm.
Games like I haven't played it, but I would imagine something like Ghost Runner would have really good locomotion. Um, just moving from the act of moving from point A to point B. How do
Mhm.
you do that in various video games?
Yeah.
And in Spider-Man, it's freaking fun.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna go over there and this is how I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I can web swing, and then you also have this you pull back on your webs and like launch yourself, and there's
Yeah.
these super launch pad points where you can
Yeah.
just go flying, then hit your web wings and just go over the Hudson River or whatever river it is right there between Queens and Brooklyn and Manhattan. And that is crazy fun. So let me just, because I want to kind of be more kind of conversational with this. What did
Mhm.
you think of the traversal and stuff about the game?
I loved the traversal in this game so much that I didn't touch fast travel until I had already beaten the game and was doing like the
Yeah,
collectible stuff. And then when I saw how fast the fast travel was, I was like, "Crap! Maybe I should have used this more
dude,
because that's insanely
it's
fast."
awesome. It's like the best fast travel system I've
It's
ever seen.
it's wild, man. But no, the traversal in this game is so stinking good, man. It just feels good, and this felt good in the previous two Spider-Man games to just web sling into a wall, run off the wall, bounce off, swing around the building, swing off. But the addition of the web wings adds a whole other layer to it that is just kind of theatric, a little dramatic, but so kinetic at the same time that it's like this is this just feels good.
Hmm.
Like I thought the Batman Arkham games had like really good traversal and they just nailed it. But
And they do.
this and they do, but this just felt way more fun to play to the point where like I said, I wasn't using fast travel because I was genuinely having fun just web slinging and gliding around New York. And of course, you find the little collectibles here and there because certain things would ping or you see it on the map. And
Yeah.
man,
I
it
also
was so
love
good.
that new move that you can do in this one where you can dive bomb straight down if you hold in the L3, and then
Hmm.
if you got to unlock it, I think, in the skill tree, but if you
Yeah.
hold R2, you'll start swinging, and then you'll do a complete loop around, and then you
Yep.
can really kind of send
Yep.
yourself off like a slingshot. Man, they really added a lot of neat new touches to
Hmm.
where web slinging is just a joy all over again.
Yeah.
Around New York City, and again, having the different boroughs, you have Queens and Brooklyn now,
Yeah.
across the river is great. It makes, it sort of justifies the web wings in some way because it
Yeah.
helps you. It feels so much bigger, and you get around so much faster.
Yeah.
You need to kind of broaden out a little bit for elbow room. Um, there was something else about traversal I was going to say, and I forgot it. But anyway, I'm going to move on to the combat,
Hmm.
which I think is improved because they got away from the radial wheel
Yeah.
where you select all your gadgets and kind
For
of
the
slow down
gadgets. Yeah.
time, and put all the gadgets and special moves on L1 and R1,
Yeah.
which felt more God of War
Yeah.
like God of War 2018 and Ragnarok.
It was a smart change in my
Yeah.
opinion.
So you've still got a bevy of special moves and gadgets, and
Hmm.
of course now you can swap between Miles and Peter, so they'd have different powers depending
Yeah.
on, you might have your Venom Punch if you're Miles versus your kind of your mechanical arms coming out of your
Yeah.
back if you're Peter. I forgot what that's called. Um, and mixing all those in combat is as fun as ever.
Yeah.
Um, I think I probably prefer like God of War's combat, overall. But this is
Hmm.
this is a great step up, and it keeps the action moving
Yeah.
just for the single fact of getting rid of that radial wheel,
Yeah.
which is not a bad game mechanic, but it just kind of slows down the action a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Um,
The
yeah, it,
I think the nice change about it is it just allowed combat to be more. I'm going to use this word a lot more kinetic because you never had that slowdown period.
mhm.
I think I would have liked to have had a little bit of slowdown period because I found the combat specifically with some of the bosses a little difficult just because in the Batman Arkham games when you're about to get hit if you're playing on the lower difficulties it would kind of slow down time a little bit and then you'd be like oh crap I gotta dodge or do whatever or do something to get out of the way. This one you eventually unlock that ability, but it only triggers when your health gets into critical, and then it slows down time so you can dodge and get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Some of those enemies were a little too fast for me. I'm
Well,
like, man, maybe I'm just getting too old.
well, this game also introduced unblockables, like unblockable moves. So you had to. It introduced. It
Right.
has a parry now for the first time
Yeah.
in Spider-Man. So that is a new wrinkle that is interesting. You can still dodge out of the way, but you're highly encouraged to parry the move.
Yeah.
So I felt you on the combat. It did feel a little bit more difficult. Not that the game is difficult really at
Sure.
all, but it felt more difficult than the previous Spider-Man games, I would say.
Yeah.
A lot of thugs come at you depending on the scenario.
hmm
Um,
But I will say some of those boss fights, holy crap, dude!
yeah,
Oh
dude.
man, good
Um,
times.
did you want to touch on any spoilery stuff here,
Let's
or wait for the full episode?
let's get into it just a little bit. I'm gonna put a timestamp into the show notes here to let people know kind of like when we're gonna be talking about spoilers, and so that way people kind of know. Like, oh, okay, so from this time to this time, I can't listen. Okay, I've given people enough time to duck out if they don't want spoilers. So, man, this game made me feel things at a couple different parts.
It.
Now,
Yeah, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say that first encounter. First of all, I love the idea that Harry was helping out Peter Parker in the Venom suit. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
he's rocking the Agent Venom suit. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. This is a cool. I know where this is gonna go though, and I'm not gonna be ready for it. I was not expecting. First of all, shout out to the Mary Jane missions. The first one I didn't really care for. The other ones I'm like, these are actually kind of dope. I don't mind them this time around. Thank goodness they're a little bit more action oriented. Um, but that first encounter, sort of with Craven when you're rescuing Doc Connors, and Peter goes toe to toe with Craven. He throws a punch. Craven it catches his hand and stabs him in the abdomen. I'm like, no freaking way.
Yeah, man.
They're not gonna kill Peter Parker off. And like I legit started bawling because like he's limping, Mary Jane's got to carry him, and like I was like, I know Peter's not dead, I know he's not gonna die here, but that scene still hit so hard and it rocked me that I'm like, oh shoot,
This was a much darker
oh yeah,
Spider-Man game. It
oh
felt
yeah,
a little bit. This is going to be kind of probably an annoying reference, but it felt a little bit like Spider-Man: The Last of Us, a little bit.
I could see
Um,
that, I could see
just with
that,
some of the Soniness and some of the
yeah,
like
yeah,
here's a specific 2 or 3 minute gameplay section where it's very storytelling. Like Mary Jane, like come on, like, right after he got stabbed, and Mary Jane or Miles carrying him out
yeah,
or something
mm-hmm,
until
mm-hmm.
like that little section that felt very Sony.
Yeah,
Um, dude, that part was all. I mean, there's
mm-hmm.
so many things, which we'll I guess save mostly for the episode, for
Yeah,
the spoilery episode. The
yeah,
thing I want to call out is that I love how all the side missions in this game really have a nice, meaty, comic booky
mm-hmm,
payoff to it with a
mm-hmm.
major or semi-major villain involved or
Bro,
character in some way.
bro.
Um,
The flame side quest?
yes, 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 dude. That's
Oh,
that's where I'm going, man.
oh, I was not expecting that, man. When they were saying that they wanted to get a symbiote, I'm like, wait a minute. Are they gonna are they gonna introduce Carnage into that?
It
No,
took me a
no,
minute.
no.
It took me a minute. I didn't realize it until going into the kind of the final part with Wraith and Peter, and you're going in, and I forget the guy's name because he doesn't go by Cletus Cassidy. I forget the name he
Yeah,
goes by,
I can't
and
remember
like
his name.
and then it hits me. I'm like, dude, this is gonna be Carnage. What am I
Yep,
thinking? And then he
yep.
says the line at the end. He's got the little sample of the symbiote, and
And it
he's
turns
like,
red too.
yeah, because all the oh man,
Bro.
that
I,
got me so
I was
excited.
like, dude, give it to me. And so this, okay, so now we can talk a little bit about this, right? So I was gonna say something else, but I can't remember what it is now. But someone in the Discord was talking about the game after we had all finished it, And clearly Green Goblin's going to be the next one.
Yes.
But someone was saying like, hey, with Green Goblin and the Carnage symbiote being a thing, we're probably going to get Red Goblin. And I'm like, who the frick is Red Goblin? Like what I looked it up. Red Goblin is Norman Osborn combining with the Carnage symbiote to
Oh.
be super powerful. And the only way that Peter Parker defeated him was when he merged back with the Venom symbiote. And I'm like,
Huh.
I didn't know this storyline even existed.
I didn't hear. I never heard of that either, but that would make some sense and line up with
Oh,
the stars that Insomniac has going on. I think.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely think they're setting up Norman for Green Goblin for
Yeah.
sure. That's
Yeah.
that's a pretty obvious thing. Did you think at any point that Venom was going to be Craven?
I'm
Because I
trying
did.
to I'm trying to remember if I thought that. I think I might have because I wasn't really sure. Like I wasn't really sure how they were going to get him to be like big and beefy like he normally is.
Yeah. It
But
was. I thought maybe it's like, well, maybe it's just a red herring with the whole Harry stuff, and they really want you to think it's Harry, but it might actually
yeah.
be Craven. I thought that would be a
Well,
decent twist, but
no, I
no.
kept actually I kept waiting. I was like, "Where's Eddie Brock at? Are they going to put him in this game?" And he never showed up. I think he was like loosely referenced in like in a throwaway line by Mary Jane saying some new guy at the Bugle or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but then we never saw him. I'm like, oh well, maybe I don't know what they're going to do with this. But then it was Harry being big bad Venom that we know. But oof, man, I'll say this. I definitely was not expecting a segment where you play as Venom and you
Yeah.
just wreck shop.
I
I'm
wanted
like,
to get to that. Absolutely. That was.
what a cool surprise.
Oh man, my son was watching me play a good bit of the game, very interested in it, and he did not catch that part. So I'm excited for him to play it someday and
Nice.
get to that part and witness it on
Dude.
his own and be surprised.
Dude.
Oh boy, that was a treat. That was another thing where I was like, I should have seen this coming,
Mhm.
and I didn't. But it was,
Yeah.
I kind of stopped trying to predict like games and movies and storylines and stuff as I'm
Yeah.
playing them these days.
Yeah.
I just let it wash over me.
Yeah.
Um,
That's where I'm at too.
and so yeah, that was like, dude, let's go.
Yeah. Which again, like you said, we should have expected because, like, of course, like they're gonna put Venom in here. Why would they not let us play as him for a little bit? Get a little
Yeah.
taste of that symbiote unleashed kind of stuff. But like when the camera panned over and I saw us controlling Venom, I'm like, dude, this game is so
Yeah, you know when you're about to play as a character in a lot of these games, or like you get that certain camera angle, like
Mhm.
wait, hold on, am I about to play as so and so?
Mhm.
Real
Man.
quick thought, and then I want to talk about this other playable
Mm.
character that you can play as.
Mhm.
I think that this Venom section was a great precursor and preview to the upcoming Wolverine Insomniac video game, as far as how it will control and how it will play. I
Yeah.
think some of the prototyping they were doing for Wolverine might have made its way
Yeah.
into the Venom section. I don't know that. It just as soon as I started playing it, I'm like, is this Marvel's Wolverine?
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, especially like I can imagine that being like because I mean Wolverine's got to have some kind of berserker mode or something. That's probably what it's going to feel like
And
when he goes
Brian
full
Intihar, the
berserker.
director, said that the universe is the same universe. The games are
Yeah,
tied together, so
yeah,
it could have some weird,
dude,
I don't know.
man, it's gonna be crazy.
I wanted to ask you what you thought about this one because I thought it was pretty darn neat. It
Hmm.
wasn't like on the same level as something like the trick that Hellblade did, but when you controlled Haley, the deaf girl,
Mm,
for a little bit, and what did you think of all that? What did you find that
loved it,
interesting?
loved it. I'm gonna be honest. It's funny. We were talking a little bit, and I think me and Nate were talking about it in the previous episode because someone had written in, talking about reviewers being like inclusivity and stuff like that. I mean, sure, there's some like LGBT stuff in it, but I think what they were also referencing was stuff with Haley
Yeah,
specifically, like when you play as her and the sound is like muted or like not even present. Super stinking cool. And then seeing her, Miles, and oh crap, what's the other guy's name?
Genki.
Genki, them doing the sign language the whole time. I'm like, This is so stinking cool. I think this is part of why people were praising this game for like inclusivity, because
Yeah.
that's what they were seeing so much of. And I gotta say this, Miles and Haley, freaking cute, man. They are
Yeah, I love it.
so adorable. Oh
It
my
was
gosh.
I really love that they, put you in her shoes, and again, it's just
Yes.
for a couple of minutes, it's not that
Yeah.
long, and you get just at the sounds like
Yeah.
just very very, very muffled,
So cool.
like you got 2 or 3, blankets over your head or something,
Yeah.
and, just a cool little trick that, didn't take up too much time,
Yeah.
and, shout out to all the kind of smaller Mary Jane style kind of playable
Yeah.
sections. All of those were so much more fun than the first game.
Yeah.
Um,
Way more fun.
they gave Mary Jane like a taser and then even like a web shooter at the end of the game.
Mhm.
Um, I even love like the bicycle sections and stuff. I was like, this is fun. I like this. Oh,
Mm.
you didn't care for it?
I didn't care for the bicycle
Okay.
sections. I kept like running off the trail. I'm like, okay, this is not for me, man.
Okay, agree to
give,
disagree.
give me my web shooters, please.
But anyway, that to say, all of the kind of like I'm not playing as Spider-Man sections were much funner
Yeah,
and
yeah,
much more kind of just immersive this time around. So all that was cleaned up and better. I don't want to belabor it too much. We can
yeah,
leave some meat on the bones for the main episode that we'll have here pretty soon. But yeah,
yeah, man.
absolutely love Spider-Man 2. It gets my highest recommendation. If you're gonna play it, it's a great game. You know what you're getting into.
Hmm.
Good stuff over there. And just another shout out to Insomniac Games, who is just crushing it and completely bailing PlayStation out
Yeah,
of their first party
yeah,
lineup. When you're delivering Miles Morales at launch, Ratchet and Clank a year or so after that, and then now Spider-Man 2, and it looks like you're going to have Wolverine on the docket before Naughty Dog even queues up their next game. It's
yeah,
like, dude, come on, man, bring it.
yeah, yeah. Shout out to Insomniac. Micah, did we both get the platinum for this? Because I got the platinum. Did you get it as
Yeah,
well?
yeah, I got the platinum.
Gets our platinum seal of
Of
approval.
course. Yeah.
Spider-Man 2, of course. What an amazing game. They did my boy Venom justice. It just, what an amazing game. I gotta say too, the intro, I'm not gonna say what it is, I don't want to spoil it, but the intro to that game, the opening segment, oh my gosh, one of the coolest
I just I
opening
just
things.
replayed it again tonight just to start a new game, just to experience that
So
opening
good.
section again. It's
So
fantastic.
good. So good, man. I feel like I was gonna ask something else about the game, but now I can't quite remember what it was. So I'm sure we'll just save it for the main episode. But
Well, Logan,
yeah.
man, I'm super interested. A lot of Spider-Man 2 talk, but there's another huge game that came out on the same day that I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on.
Yeah, so same day. Again, 2023. What a crazy year. What a time to be alive. Spider-Man, we got Spider-Man 2, we got Super Mario Wonder. Of course, your boy got both, when Super Mario Wonder and Super Mario RPG got announced over the summer, I was like, I'm gonna buy that voucher, those two voucher things in the Nintendo eShop.
Dude, yes.
So I can get both Mario games. And man, I gotta say this. I'm admittedly not the biggest Mario fan. I did cut my gaming teeth on Super Mario Brothers on the NES, but I'm not like the biggest Mario guy. I think people, longtime listeners, will remember me thoroughly trashing Mario 64 and I think Sunshine a little bit when that pack came out a couple years ago
Yeah, yeah.
on the Switch. Was not a fan of those games. Super Mario Odyssey is dope though. Love that. But yeah, so I've played the previous new Super Mario Brothers games on like the Wii U and the 3DS and stuff, and I was like, these are okay, they're fine. It is what it is. It's cool getting Super Mario Brothers NES like revamped on the 3DS, but this one came out like when I saw the trailer, I was like, dude, this just looks like pure fun that you can just have with anybody, whether it's by yourself or you got the family together. It's just a good time. And yeah, this game is as fun, if not more fun, than I thought it would be. It is so stinking good. The animation is like, I don't know if it's because I'm teaching animation now in class, so I'm paying more attention to like these little details that movies and stuff have in them now. But like, man, when you go through the warp pipes now, like it's so cool because if you go to a warp pipe and you go up, like you'll see the character get stuck and they kind of wiggle their legs a little bit and then they'll shoot up into it.
Okay.
Or if you'll go to one that's like on the side of the screen, they'll get sucked in and their hat will kind of float and start falling and you see their hand come back and grab it and then go back in.
Oh, okay.
Just so many little things like that that just add a little more personality to the game. That's just really cool.
Well, Logan, did you know that the original Super Mario Brothers was created by 5 people? Shigeru Miyamoto, Koji Kondo, and like a few others. All of 5 of those people have credits on this game,
Really
which I think speaks
interesting.
volumes to just first it speaks on Nintendo. It's just they
Mhm.
really you can't just create that special sauce that they have.
Yeah,
Like those guys have it and they're sticking together and
yeah,
I think you can see that work and that through line in Super Mario Wonder. But yeah, I just wanted to point
yeah,
that out.
dude, that's cool. That would explain why I'm feeling like I'm playing Mario for the first time again and just having so much fun with it. Because I think the last one was like what Super Mario 3D World that kind of had a little bit of that blended 2D with 3D and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I don't really care for this
Yeah.
that much. The cat outfits are cute and they're fun, but this one, man, it's so cool, and I like that they balanced. How do I word this? Like, there's so many things in this game that they've either removed or changed to a certain point that just makes the game so accessible to a wide range of people. If you want this game to be easy peasy lemon squeezy, you can pick from any of the Yoshi characters or oh gosh, I'm blanking on the other character's name that has like the little apron thing and the bunny ears, where you don't take damage. If you want to be super easy, if you want to be difficult, you can do that. And there's missions that when you go and check out the certain missions on the world map, it has star ratings on how difficult they are. So if you want the really hard ones, you can go straight to those. If you don't want
Okay.
to mess with those, you can go to ones that have like less stars in them. And it's just really really smart. There's no timer anymore, so you can spend a lot more time actually exploring some of the areas and you're
Okay.
rewarded for doing so. It just it's so cool at how you can enjoy this game at your own pace and to your own difficulty. It's gosh, dude, again, 2023 has been a remarkable year for games and this
How
just is
how far into it are you? Like how many hours you got put into
I'm
it?
on World 3. I don't know how many hours I have into it just
Okay.
yet,
Do you know how
but
many worlds there are?
I think 6,
Okay.
and I know there's a couple well,
Maybe some bonus ones or something?
yeah, I know there's some bonus ones because 'cause I'm in a group chat with some friends, listener of the show, friend of the show, Jonathan Steele. He's already 100% completed it, and he was, like, trying to be as spoiler-free as possible about some of the secret stuff, but, uh, again, he was also trying to brag because he knows we're about the only people who probably appreciate it. Um, but I'm just
Yeah.
like, dude, this is awesome. Like this is so cool. It's not it hasn't completely changed my mind about Mario, but I do recognize this game is just freaking stellar from stem to stern. It is a truly remarkable game, and I thought it was even more amazing that the game released and there was no day one patch. Like the game just worked and it
Yeah.
was fine.
In this
And
day and age, yeah.
dude, it's just crazy. Yeah, this game is really really good. If you have a Nintendo Switch, it's easily one of the games that like you have to have for the system. It's just
Yeah.
it's super good, and the multiplayer is pretty good as well. My wife was like, "Oh, this is actually kind of fun." I'm like, "Yeah, it is." She hasn't played it
This is
since
one of
though.
those games that it usually wouldn't be at the tippy top of my list, but I'm gonna have to make some time for it. I really
Mhm.
am. I know my son really wants to play it, so I'll probably
Yeah.
get it just for him, if nothing else. But yeah, I haven't dug into a 2D a new like I didn't play new Super Mario Brothers. I didn't play
Okay.
any of those games. So it's been a while since I've played 2D Mario, especially
Mhm.
anything new. So like this will probably be a lot of fun and
Yeah.
just kind of uh, something that I haven't experienced in a while anyway. So like
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to get my mitts on it. It might be something I try around like the holiday break or
Yeah,
something.
man. I mean, hey,
Um,
keep an eye out for Black Friday. You never know; they might have those like buy one or buy two get one or something like Target
yeah,
normally
yeah.
has. But yeah. And one more thing I do want to add to it, like I love how every time I play this game, I never know what to expect because when you collect the little like wonder seed things, it radically changes the level to something else, and I never know what it's going to
Okay,
be. It's
that's
different
fun.
every single time. So, man, Nintendo, gosh dang it, dude, they're so creative, and I love it, and it's just on full display in Super Mario Wonder. So, yeah, it's an awesome game. Really, really enjoyed it. The last game I will talk about is one that I've been playing with a couple patrons for the month of October, and that was Marvel Midnight Suns. This was a game that I finished up recently, along with all of the DLC. So I played through all of Deadpool's, Storm's, Morbius's, and Venom's story arcs that culminated in a final battle with a villain that was very fitting, but one I didn't quite expect to show up in that. I'll leave that there for anybody else that might play it. But yeah, so Marvel Midnight Suns is by Firaxis. I don't know how to pronounce it, but the same people that made XCOM, and a lot of those similar gameplay loops are on display here. Thankfully, though, you don't have the 90% hit chance that always misses sort of thing like you do in XCOM. People that played XCOM will know my pain when I say that, but it's kind of similar style to that, where actually it's a little bit closer to a game that I played on the GameCube called Lost Kingdom. That is a deck-based kind of RPG style game that each character, each hero that you have has a deck of cards that you can upgrade and swap out and change as you play through the game. And it's actually a pretty cool mechanic. It worked a lot better than what I thought it would. But the whole premise of the story is, Hydra, up to their typical hijinks, they wind up resurrecting Lilith, who is like some dark mother of demons or something like that. Um, which is ironic. I was playing that, or I started playing that around the same time that Diablo 4 came out because it was the same bad guys. But I was like, oh, interesting how that works. But regardless, and you play as the hunter, and which is Lilith's son, and your whole job is to take her down. And during the whole time, she's taking popular heroes from the Marvel universe and corrupting them into fallen versions of themselves. So you're trying to take her down while getting through all of them, while also taking some time to hang out with some well-known and not so well-known Marvel characters at the Abbey, which is kind of like your local hub thing. And man, I gotta say, this game has a lot of mechanics to the point where it's almost a little too much at times. It got to a point like right around like the 20-hour mark for me where I was like, I'm going to start ignoring a lot of these things just so I can get to the story, because I feel like I'm getting antsy now where I'm like, let's get the ball rolling on the story. I want to get this over with. And
Hmm.
so I feel like I missed out on some things, but I mean, you can upgrade so many things. You can spend time with characters and hang out with them and get to know them a little bit better, learn about them if you don't know anything about them, which was great because when I was playing it in October, there was a character in there called Nico Minoru who was going to be a new card on Marvel Snap. And I'm like, I don't know anything about this character. I don't know why her card behaves the way it does. But when playing this game, I'm like, oh, now that card makes total sense because of how she's set up. And man, it was cool. I gotta say, I slept on this game and really dogged on it when it was coming out. But now I'm like, this was actually a really good game. Really surprising, really fun, really addictive at times. I do think it kind of wears out its welcome a little bit in some areas, and part of that is because of the side things that you can get into. Um, and I feel like the gameplay story thing could have been structured a little bit better. That would have been more comic booky, but would have been more streamlined. But all in all, man, it's really good, and I loved that they teased a sequel, because I would love to see a sequel to this game. Maybe get some more characters in there,
I
and
thought,
yeah,
didn't Firaxis go through some layoffs after this game came out?
I don't
Or
know.
I
That
thought I
that's a
thought something
possibility.
bad happened to them, which made me think that there might not be a sequel. But maybe I'm misremembering completely, so don't quote me on that.
Let me check,
Um,
but
or
I don't know.
maybe Take Two, who I think distributed it. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they said
Mm-hmm.
something disappointing about it. I don't remember.
I don't
But
know either.
either way, that's awesome that
Yeah,
you're enjoying it though.
yeah, man. It was a good time. So I mean, if any of you are, I mean, I know this game has gone on sale like 2 or 3 times during the time that me and some of the patrons have been playing it. I would definitely recommend getting it with the DLC characters if you can.
Okay.
Deadpool and Morbius are kind of okay, like they're fine. Deadpool's just fun to have around because he's just funny, and it's just also funny hanging out with Deadpool at the side of a pool and just talking about random stuff. Like it's surprisingly funny.
Yeah.
Um, that just reminded me too. Well, let me talk about the other two characters first, and then I'll get to the
Okay.
voice acting. Uh, Venom and Storm became my favorites. Obviously, Venom's my favorite because Venom is one of my
Sure.
favorite characters. But Storm is a literal force to be reckoned with. She has this move where she can go into a group of enemies and do this vortex blast that knocks everyone away, and that leads into environment damage or knocking them off a cliff. Like Storm is awesome. I mean, Storm's one of my favorite X-Men to begin with,
Yeah,
but
sure.
like, dude,
That's cool.
they nailed that character. But what was cool about this is that even the voice acting for this game was really good. Yuri Lowenthal is Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
Okay.
Um, who do they? Nolan North is Deadpool, which is who? I mean, that's a voice actor from the Deadpool game. So I'm like, that's even perfect.
Yeah.
And one of the big surprises for me, I was sitting there listening to Blade talk. I'm like, why does he sound familiar? Like, did he voice Blade in another game? Like, where am I hearing him? And it's Michael J. White, the guy that was Spawn in the '90s live action
Yeah.
film. And I'm like, that's
I
why he
remember
sounds
him.
familiar. I remember Michael J. White. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it's just, they got a really good pedigree of voice actors in there. There's people in there that are voicing characters that have been voicing that same character across like all different forms of entertainment. Like Nico Minoru, for example, the girl that voices her is the same girl that played her in the live action Runaways Hulu TV series.
Okay.
I'm
Cool.
like, dude, it's cool how they got really good voice acting for this game
Sounds
too.
like they
It's
did it the right way.
yeah, dude, just really did a good job paying homage to the different Marvel characters and their history, and yeah, just a really good job. I wish they would have had more costumes, but that's a minor gripe. If you get a chance to check out Marvel Midnight Suns, definitely recommend, especially as we kind of get into Black Friday holiday shopping. A lot of games are going to be going on discount. If you can get this game with the DLC characters, highly recommend it. Highly
Mhm.
recommend it. You know. And before we go on, I'm just gonna say it's Morbin time. Morbin time. They actually included some sort of meme reference to that in the game too. I'm like, gosh dang it, dude, this game.
Even though the Morbius DLC wasn't all that, it's Morbin time.
It's Morbid time. It's Morbid time. I don't know. Some people might like Morbius's skill set. I didn't really care for it, but
Yeah,
it's what it is. It's what
that's
it is.
fine.
But speaking of things that are what they are, I guess, and some things. This is a terrible segue. I'm trying to get into the news. I'm just fumbling over everything. But Mike, it's been a while since we've done the news, man. What do we got on the docket, man? What are we going to talk about?
Dude, we got several good news items this week, and the one I wanted to start with was a few of the big boys are releasing their quarterly earnings, and I wanted to focus on Nintendo this time around because they apparently had, when you look at their first quarter of the fiscal year combined with the last quarter they just had, it was the biggest 1-2 punch as far as quarters for Nintendo since the launch of the Switch. And this is, of
Okay.
course, attributed to the Super Mario Brothers movie, along with the fact that the Switch is still selling kind of like hotcakes over
Mm-hmm.
in Japan,
Oh
and
wow.
is just riding this momentum just globally that is kind of unprecedented. We talked about it a little bit in the past.
Mm-hmm.
They just keep selling. I think they're going to have another good holiday here coming up here in the States. And what's really fun, one of my most favorite things about whenever Nintendo does their quarterly earnings is they always update you and tell you, hold on, where is it at? Here's my article. They give you the top 10 best selling Switch games. So, Logan, I wanted to play a quick little game with you
Okay.
and see if I can quiz you and see if you can get, basically, I want you to see if you can guess the top 10 best-selling Switch games. So if you just
Okay.
toss out a game, and I'll tell you, oh yeah, that's number 3 or number 1 or whatever. What is the best-selling Nintendo Switch game of all time? What do you
The
think it is?
best-selling Nintendo Switch game of all time.
Or just any of them?
I feel like Mario Kart 8 has to be up there somewhere.
Ding, ding, ding. Number 1, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at
Yep.
57 million
Holy crap.
sold. Uh,
That is
and
insane.
that's the deluxe version of Mario Kart 8.
Dude.
Um, Okay. Any other big game? Just name out a big Nintendo game. Let's
Man,
see where it's at. It's probably on the
dude,
list,
dude, shout out to Mario Kart 8. Side note, they just announced like the last string of courses for that, I think,
dude. It's
or
still
I said,
pumping out. It's still pumping out, man. It's
what a
nuts.
what a game. What a game. You want a game for your Switch that's going to give you value. Get that and get the
Hmm.
cart pass. Oh my gosh. Another game, I feel like Animal Crossing is up there somewhere.
Yep, that's number two. You're
Oh,
two for two. Yeah,
awesome.
Animal Crossing: New Horizons. If you can believe it, the pandemic game already 43 million sold in just a
That's
few
nuts.
years.
That's nuts. I can
Uh,
believe it.
Number three is uh is a very popular game.
Uh,
What do you think here?
okay,
I
when
mean,
you said very popular, I was going to say Super Mario Odyssey, but then you said very popular. Is it like Splatoon?
no, Splatoon's not on the list. Actually,
Oh,
it's
that's surprising.
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate at number three. 32 million
Doy.
sold, and then 4 and 5 are a couple of uh I would say it's not like Smash Brothers, but a couple of solo hero video games, I would say, at 4 and 5. What do you think these might be?
Solo
Yeah,
Hero?
that's a bad way to describe it. It's not it's like some big boy Nintendo characters in their own starring in their own
Oh,
video games.
okay. It's got to be one of the Legend of Zelda games. Is it? Is it Tears of the Kingdom?
It's Breath of the Wild.
Oh, okay.
At number
Okay.
4, Breath of the
Close
Wild is
enough.
number 4, and then Super Mario Odyssey
Okay.
is
Oh,
number
there's
5.
Mario Odyssey. Okay.
So,
Okay.
Breath of the Wild is at 31 mil, Super Mario Odyssey is at 26 mil,
Hmm.
followed up by, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, it's a couple of Pokemon games, Pokemon Sword and Shield, and then
Okay.
Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Okay.
Tears of the Kingdom, Logan, is number 9 on the
Oh.
list, which
Okay.
with 19.5 million sold.
I guess that makes sense. It came out this year,
Yeah, but that's
so
a lot
it's
though.
still a
Like in
lot for
just a
just
little bit
one
of
year.
time. Like that came
Yeah.
out in what, May?
Was it May or was it March? No,
It was not
it was,
March.
it was May. It was May. It was May. Yeah.
I think it was May. Either way, that's
Yeah.
a
That's a
ton.
lot.
So yeah, it's Super Mario. Excuse me, Super Mario Party at number 8. Tears of the Kingdom at number 9, and then New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe at number 10.
Wow.
Rounding out,
Super Mario Party's that high?
yeah, 19 mil. It says.
Wow. Okay.
I think maybe they have had, unless I'm thinking of this upcoming Black Friday, I think they've had like a bundle where they bundle that game in with some Joy Cons in Black Friday.
Oh,
Maybe I
yep. That
think
was
that might
probably
be
it.
bumping the numbers up for that game
That was probably
potentially.
it. That's smart. That's smart.
But also, I own that game,
Oh,
so
I do too. I like
I
it.
don't
I
know.
think it's a
I
good
mean,
time.
I
But
can't talk, but yeah, those are the best selling
man,
Switch games as of this last quarter. So I love
man,
that they are so transparent with that and just like, yeah,
yeah,
here are the numbers for our first party titles. I wish Sony and Microsoft would do similar things.
yeah,
But anyway, Nintendo is raking in the cash.
yeah, man. I gotta
Anything
say,
else you want to say? Yeah, go
I
on.
just gotta say real quick, man. I'm so glad the Switch is as good as it is. Like, I remember.
I think they. I'm sorry, real quick. I think they just said it sold. It passed 132 million lifetime, which is just
Nice.
it's getting up there with PS2
Yeah,
and the Nintendo DS is what it's doing.
dude. I love it, man. Yeah, I'm glad the Switch is as good as it is because I'm gonna be honest. After the Wii U, I was worried, but
Yeah,
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 man.
definitely. After the Wii U, and even like after the GameCube, you're like a little like, oh boy, they got. And obviously they had the Wii and they turned it around and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
But yeah, the Switch
Man.
is phenomenal. And another quick thing from this is that a lot of the I think they were like shooting down a lot of the rumors about the Switch
I saw
2
that. Yeah,
and stuff, which I think just kind of adds fuel to the fire that they are true personally.
yeah, yeah,
We'll see. They've got to announce something sometime pretty
yeah,
soon. They
yeah,
just want to keep selling Switches, for the holiday
yeah.
and keep the hype down
Exactly.
for the
But
next one.
let's be honest, Nintendo. We know it's coming,
Oh
and we know
yeah.
Metroid Prime is gonna be a launch title, if
Another
not shortly
thing
after.
Another thing that's coming soon from Nintendo is a live action Legend of Zelda movie. They announced is in development, produced by Shigeru Miyamoto and huge blockbuster movie producer Avi Arad, who has produced many many Marvel movies, like the Across the Spider-Verse movies. So many titles. You can look up his
Yeah,
IMDb. He's
it's.
huge in the production world.
I had to look that up earlier today because I thought he was like the director for that bad Hulk movie that came out several years ago before the MCU was a thing. But no, he's a producer on just about every single Marvel property movie that has come out. I'm like, okay, never mind. The guy, he's wow.
Yeah, he knows how to put together a movie. So
Yeah,
I think it's a fine partner. And the other kind of thing, and we can get into Boulder's question here in just a second, but is that this movie is going to be distributed by Sony Pictures,
yeah, yeah.
which is I think I think is the first major time Sony and Nintendo have worked together since like before the PlayStation came out, and they were going to
Hmm.
make the Nintendo PlayStation.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't think of another time they've worked together in this size of capacity before. Can you?
No, man, it seems like they were just kind of dead to each other after that. But
Yeah. So anyway, we can get into Boulder's right in here.
yeah, man. Boulder writes in as you can too if you support us over on Patreon just for $1 or more. You write into every episode. He writes in and says, "I'm curious what y'all think about the announcement of a Legend of Zelda movie being announced and the fact that it'll be live action. It will also be produced with the Sony Film Studio, which is a bit ironic." Micah, let me say this. First of all, I remember that April Fool's joke that IGN did years ago of a
Oh
live
yeah.
action Legend of Zelda. I was like, oh my gosh, give it to me. I'll take it. Just make it good. However, I'm a little bummed that it's not like 3D animated like the Super Mario Brothers movie was. Because I feel
Okay.
like they could have. Because I was thinking like something in the style of like Link's Awakening, that kind of art style, and having some
Mm.
fun with that, or maybe, even doing Ocarina of Time style with like more 3D stuff. But I mean, hey, we'll
I,
just have
th-
to see how it goes.
I get where you're coming from 100%. I
Mhm.
would have loved some sort of animated, even if it's that kind of CG, look, or more like hand drawn animation or whatever. I would have
Mhm.
loved that.
Yeah.
I think when we see the first, not even teaser, like the first real trailer for this movie, I think all those fears are going to be washed
Oh,
away.
absolutely. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we're going to be losing our stuff,
Yep.
and I think it's going to be awesome. I
Yeah.
really do. I after what happened with the Super Mario Brothers movie, I have very little fears
Hmm.
that they're getting the right partners to help with these projects, and that they want to handle them with care.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I guess when you're talking live action, the question is like, well, who's going to play these people?
I was about to bring that up.
Do
Yeah.
you have any particular wishes or hopes?
Micah, man, I've got the perfect casting for
Oh,
Link. I've got the perfect casting, man. It's my boy Chris Pratt. We gotta get.
stop,
No,
stop.
I really I don't know who we would get for Link because I know some people were like floating around the idea of like, oh, because Sony's tied to it, they're gonna get Tom Holland to
Tom
do it,
Holland.
and I'm like, that would actually be kind of funny. But I mean, like, how do you pick Link? Link doesn't talk. He communicates and yeah, yeah, those
Yeah, yeah,
things.
true.
So I
Maybe he
don't I
won't
don't
talk
know.
very much. I don't
I
know.
don't know. That's the other thing too. Like, is Link gonna talk in this game in this movie? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It remains to be seen. We'll kind of have to just wait for it. I will say, I think who would be a good Zelda? Maybe, I don't know. I thought she did a good job as Princess Peach, and I can't remember her name, but the actress
Is it
who
Anya Taylor-Joy?
that's it. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Maybe get her for Zelda. I think she'd be a good fit for that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, not bad. I
but I don't
think
know.
me and a couple of buddies were talking about it. I think you need to go with no names
Okay.
actors for the most part,
Yeah.
except for maybe Ganondorf.
Hmm.
Maybe have a big actor like Jack Black
There we
um,
go.
play Ganon. I think that would be fitting.
Mhm.
But Link and Zelda, I don't want to know who those actors are
Okay.
personally.
Okay.
I want a no name in those roles. It would just be really distracting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, like hopefully it won't have any of those like this actor is in a lot of Sony movies, so here he
Hmm.
is, you know,
Yeah.
like Mark Wahlberg playing Tingle or something, you know. uh,
Actually, Micah, that's perfect. We need Marky Mark as Tingle. That would be just so
that would be
hilarious.
really good. Is Tingle gonna be in this live action Zelda
I don't know.
movie? I wonder.
Why don't we make it even more ridiculous? Just get Dwayne the Rock Johnson to be Tingle.
So, what kind of like stylistic, like, is it gonna be like Breath of the Wild, or is Link gonna have a
See,
hook shot like older? Like, what's this gonna be like?
see, I'm thinking they're gonna go for the more Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom approach, just because that's what's more relevant in terms of
Yeah,
like release and kind of what's fresh on everybody's mind. I think that's what they're gonna go for, which
yeah,
I would kind of be all for because you have just like Hyrule that people are familiar with, and it would just I think that would lend itself well to a movie. I think it would be really cool,
hmm
and you could I know like probably not Game of Thrones, but like the Lord of the Rings TV series is popular, and so maybe they want to go for that more not necessarily like gritty route, but that kind of style sort of thing where it's a little more grounded, which I think would be pretty cool. But at the same time, I mean, who knows?
Do you think they'll keep it PG,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
not PG-13?
I can't. It might hit PG-13 just because some of the stuff with like Ganondorf can be kind of scary at times and a little dark.
Uh huh.
But it might push into that. But yeah, man,
Because
I
I'm thinking of
want to see it.
something like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe movie.
Oh, okay,
Like, wasn't that PG-13?
I don't remember.
And that
I don't
movie
remember.
feels like the kind of level that the Zelda movie might need to be at.
Okay,
Just very loose ballpark in my brain. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
yeah,
Um, but anyway, it's an exciting prospect, and
yeah,
I have full faith that they'll do it well. And it looks like production is about to start
yeah,
based on the press release they put out. So, yeah, we'll wait and see what
yeah,
happens
man.
there. Okay, moving on to the next news story. BioWare has teased a new or has put a new teaser out for Mass Effect, the upcoming Mass Effect game. It was in 7 day recently, and they BioWare put out a whole bunch of stuff talking about the game, and I'm reading a quote here from BioWare. They said the process is equal parts rewarding and challenging. We've asked ourselves we've asked ourselves many of the same questions you've asked us over the years. What happened to everyone you knew and love in the games? Who really died? Who had kids with whom? What does a baby Vola sound like? What about all the galaxies, the endings? What the heck is going on with the Asari scientist turned shadow broker? You get the idea. And of course, to those questions, there are answers, but you'll have to wait to hear them. And anything we do say won't be easy to find, just like you've come to expect from our in 7 day teases. So they put together this, you had to piece together this thing. Basically, it was a teaser trailer. And you can go check out the trailer on YouTube or on, the Mass Effect social medias. It's basically this. Is this a new character, Logan, or is this an old character, you think?
Who knows, man? Who
It
knows?
looks like it's just a character walking down a hall. It's about 35 seconds or so. It looks stylistically like a mixture between Mass Effect and Blade Runner, in my personal opinion,
Hmm.
with the kind of trench coat look of this character. Does this move the needle for you for excitement for Mass Effect, Logan?
No, man. I'm gonna be honest. I saw the teaser trailer and I was like, "Cool, that was a whole lot of nothing." Bioware, like,
Yeah.
like it just. I was reading this article. I've been spending a lot of time on Reddit lately, and I don't know if that's lend itself to me being more of a curmudgeon here lately, or just my old age, or me getting older. But this article from PC Gamer kind of talked about how their teases are a little arrogant in that it's almost like BioWare is acting like they're on like a victory lap or something when really they're kind of in a way still on their apology tour or what that's where they should be.
Yeah.
I I even tweeted about this the other day, which I'm sure a lot of people didn't like the snarkiness of it. But I was like, I'm surprised in 7 days is even still a thing. Um,
Mm.
just because it kind of feels like it's an excuse every year for BioWare to bring out this shambling corpse of a beloved franchise. Like, hey guys, remember this
Wow.
games franchise we did? It's so cool. Remember Garrus and how he's always doing diagnostics? We're still here. We're still making this game. Please love us. It's like, guys, Mass Effect, you're it's just not the same anymore. I'll
It
take more Mass Effect for sure, but after Andromeda, I'm sorry, you guys really hurt yourselves there to where I'm just kind of done. I've moved on. Maybe make something new.
yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's true that BioWare is a shell of what they used to be.
Yeah,
They're not the same BioWare that made KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, and Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3,
or Jade
um,
Empire.
and all these other great games that they're known for.
Yep,
That it is not the same developer.
yep,
And I'm not saying this is not going to be a great game and they can't produce something great. It's
sure.
just that it's a different team. So don't
Yeah,
expect that level of greatness out of them.
yeah,
If they wind up hitting and it's a big thing and EA really does it right, and then great.
sure.
But I also don't have high hopes for this.
Yeah,
I mean, what even? I don't know. I was about to say, like, how do you even make a Mass Effect game in 2023, 2024,
yeah,
whatever? Like, what's it going to look like? That'll be interesting. But no, I'm with you. This did not move the needle for
yeah.
me in Mass Effect. But maybe this next tease did. Actually, this isn't really a tease. This news is too big to not mention.
Yeah.
Rockstar this morning, as of the day that we're recording this, Rockstar came out and announced and said, "Hey, Grand Theft Auto 6 is real, and we are going to show you a trailer in early December. See
Yep.
you then."
Yep.
And that was enough to break the video game internet.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
of course, Grand Theft Auto 5 is either the biggest or the second biggest video game of all time. I think it's the
Yeah.
second biggest behind
Yeah.
Minecraft.
Yeah.
Um,
It's crazy.
so, of course, it's going to be a huge deal culturally in the video game world. Now, as far as us here at the Reformed Gamers, I think there's probably a lot of people that are just like, not really into GTA, or it's just been so long. Like kids have been born and grown up, and they're 10.
Yeah.
Like, so who's even a fan? Like who's a GTA fan? I don't know. Like I know it sells like all the time, but I personally don't know anyone who like plays GTA ever.
Mhm.
So what's your feeling on this? Is this even a game you're even going to sniff at, or is it going to be just one of those like cyberpunk, nothing but controversy all the time?
Yeah.
There's no way a Christian can play it. What are you even thinking? Like, what do you think about Grand Theft Auto 6?
I'm so glad the Facebook group is archived so I don't have to listen to people arguing about it for 6 months to a year. Um, I'm gonna be honest. It's funny this is announced when it was because I just watched a video from Video Game Donkey that was kind of cataloging the last 10 years of like GTA 6 rumors and teases and things like that. It's actually a very funny video. I'll link to it in the show notes. Um, GTA is this series that I'm always intrigued by. That I always feel like some kind of pull to check out every now and then, just to kind of see like, okay, what did they do this time around? What do they have in here? So I'm very interested in the GTA 6 trailer to see what it is, especially with the leaks and stuff that came out. I can't remember if it was earlier this year or last year. I didn't really delve too deep into those. I did hear that like one of the characters you play as is a Hispanic woman, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Let's see how this character is. Hopefully, there's no Trevor main characters because I couldn't stand Trevor in GTA 5. But yeah, GTA is a game that I'm gonna be honest, making sure it's safe here. I kind of like to a degree. There's aspects of it I don't like and I don't mess around with,
Uh
but
huh.
just GTA is almost interesting. This is really bad. GTA is as interesting on the same level as South Park is in that they are very self-aware of what's going on in the culture at the time, and
Now
they're
that's
able to be meta with their jokes and their satire about that. And so I'm always interested to see like how they make fun of like certain things going on in our culture, and just what they do with it, because that's always interesting to me to see what they do with that. But
That has historically been true with the Hauser brothers running Rockstar over there.
mhm,
I think it's Dan Hauser recently left after
sounds
Red Dead
right.
Redemption 2,
Sounds right.
who was one of the main writers for those games. We'll see how that, plus the whole fact that we're 10 years past the last release, and
Yeah.
our culture and country has changed a lot since
Yeah.
then when it comes to satire.
Yeah.
I will be very curious to see how that plays out. That's a good point. I like what you just said there,
Yeah,
Logan.
man.
I don't. The GTA games aren't my cup of tea. I haven't played
Mhm.
one since Vice City, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
It's just one of those kind of like Cyberpunk, where it's like this is just too much
Yeah.
in the game. Like there's just too much for me. I'm a completionist, and
Yeah.
games like GTA make me just break out in hives. So I probably won't touch it, even if it's like a perfect 10 out of 10 from
Mhm.
every outlet ever.
Yeah.
Uh, I probably won't be touching it, but I might. I'm very curious to watch and see how it performs and how it affects the overall gaming industry, because
Mhm.
it definitely will.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, and I have I have an interest in the health of of the industry, so I'm curious to see how it affects
Yeah.
it. I'll be watching, but yeah. Any closing thoughts on Grand Theft Auto 6?
I did. I'm making a more like, what's the word? Concerted. I'm
Concerted
trying.
effort?
I'm trying. Yeah, concerted effort. Like I'm trying to be more intentional on Twitter and tweeting stuff out at least once a day or once every other day or something. I did put a poll out just asking people, hey, are you excited for a GTA 6 trailer? And out of 28 votes so far at the time that we're recording, out of 28 votes, 75% say no, 25% say yes. So that's about what I expected for our audience. The 28 votes out of 1,478 followers is not much of a sample size, but that's kind of what I expected, though, regardless,
Sure.
for our audience. But yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. And plus, I mean, it also, I think there's something to be said. I think some of those people that are interested are still going to watch the trailer anyway. I mean, it's like, it's not like Call of Duty, but it's kind of like Call of Duty, where like everyone kind of tunes in every year or whenever. And it's like, okay, what are they doing here? And it's like,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna bow out a little bit. I'm gonna bow out. So it's interesting, man. I'm looking forward to it just because I'm curious to see what they do with it
Hmm.
and see what they are.
It's just going to be a huge kind of cultural moment
It's gonna be
as
massive.
well. It's going to be absolutely massive. I saw, and shout out to the GG app, Charles Watson over there. I saw his official Twitter account. He was like, "Hey," because they were talking about early December for the trailer. Like, "Hey, is this going to show up at the Game Awards?" I'm like, "There's no chance. Like, this is way
Mhm.
bigger than the Game Awards.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like it's too big for it."
yeah.
So I think that's a no. But if that happens, that would be fun too.
Hmm.
But anyway, let's go ahead and keep the train moving. We got a lot more to get through
Yeah,
here, and you just mentioned Call of Duty, and the latest one, Modern Warfare 3, is seeing perhaps some unprecedented kind of backlash
yeah,
slash this game is just bombing, not as far as sales but as far as critical reception,
yeah,
player reception. There's lots of goofy things happening with this game, and let's start kind of at the beginning.
yeah.
This game was first rumored by Jason Schreier to be postponed, canceled, or something like that, like a year ago or a little while ago. And
Hmm.
basically, like, whoa, at the time we were like, whoa, is this going to be the first time that Call of Duty misses a year and we're going to have a
Yeah,
break from Call of Duty? And then the rumors kind of transformed to like, well, they're actually doing this and they're going to rope it into they're going to make it all this. Long story short, man, this is some stinking DLC that they turn into a full fledged
yep,
Call of Duty game, and it even goes as far as there were some disc read errors if you put it in, and it's like, nope, I need the Modern Warfare 2 disc. And the fact that on the
hmm,
PlayStation 5, when you look at the trophies, it is a DLC trophy list for
yep,
Modern Warfare 2 without a platinum trophy.
yep,
So
yep.
the game's currently sitting at like a 56 Open Critic score, I think,
Hmm.
which is just awful.
I think IGN gave the campaign like what, a 4 out of 10 or something like that. If that.
A one for every hour of the campaign is what I hear.
Oh man.
So, dude, like, Is this, Logan? I'll ask you. I'll frame it this way: is this just a reflection of the poor state that Activision was in right before Xbox came in and swooped them up, where they're having all sorts of troubles? Do you think this is a symptom of that, or is this just a blip, or like what happened
I
here?
don't I don't know, man. It's hard to tell, and for me personally, like I'm not super well informed on a lot of the stuff, so I can't
Sure.
say one way or the other. But this is just wild to me at the state that this game has launched in. I mean, this is freaking Call of Duty, like their biggest kind of cash cow thing. And I was reading from one of our patrons over on Twitter, David Matthews at Packet Sealer. He was talking about this new Call of Duty update that's on PS5 that basically makes Call of Duty a launcher that forces you to download all of Modern Warfare 3, even if you don't own the game. Then you have to scroll down every time you want to play Modern Warfare 2 or older. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Why are
And
you
it
making this
has a
user
like
interface?
260 some odd gigabyte
Yeah,
like footprint on your SSD.
yeah.
It's like, okay,
I
dude.
don't I don't understand this, man. Like it just
Is this enough to shake the goodwill of Call of Duty? Like, it sells mega millions every. Is this enough to shake that, you think?
can I be a little rude for a second?
Go ahead.
I don't I don't think it will because I think this is going to be really rude. I probably shouldn't. I feel like the large majority of gamers are just stupid. Like we have no self-control, we have no will or anything like that. We especially those of us that are like really like we love Call of Duty. It's like we're gonna. I feel like people are still gonna pick this game up because a lot of people I think have the mindset of, well, I don't care about the campaign. I'm just gonna do the multiplayer. Even though and I looked into this a little bit, the campaign for these games, at least looking at the trophy data, has similar completion rates as single player games do, if not a little bit less.
Mhm.
So I don't know, man. I think this game is still going to sell really well because it's Call of Duty and because that's just how gamers are. I think for people like us and people that listen to the podcast that really like tune into gaming news and pay attention to this stuff, we're going to steer clear of it. But people who don't pay attention to gaming news, who aren't keeping up with stuff like this, they just see, oh, new Call of Duty, cool, I'll pick it up. They're going to get bamboozled by it. And whether or not
Yeah.
they're going to be upset by it, it remains to be seen. I was surprised to hear that the campaign uses recycled Warzone maps and they're just really
Mhm.
boring. I was like, dude,
It's a complete asset flip. Like,
yeah,
just imagine putting a campaign together with nothing but, multiplayer assets, and that's what
yeah.
Sledgehammer had available to them and did.
I did find
Um,
it funny here. I did link this here that shout out to IGN for putting out this article. It says angry Call of
oh,
Duty fans are review bombing the wrong Modern Warfare 3, which like, oh man, poor Modern Warfare 3 from the early 2000s.
from how
It,
long
it,
ago?
this just kind of goes to another thing. I'm like, why did they reboot Modern Warfare? They should have called it something else instead of taking the 2 seconds it took them to be like, let's just reuse the same name. It's like, I don't know, man. What worries me about this is it seems like some of these companies might be testing the waters a little bit to be like, okay, can we put out a half baked product at full price and people still buy it? Can we do that? And then charge money for the extra stuff and make money off that. I don't know, man. I don't trust
That
Activision. And
that's why I'm so curious to see how this one
yeah,
performs.
so
If like sometimes Matt Piscatella over at
mhm,
the it used to be called NPD,
mhm,
Circana is what it's called now. Sometimes he'll give nuggets for big games like that, like, yeah, this is the best selling Kirby game ever, and that kind of thing. Or like,
mhm,
maybe he'll say like, this is the worst Call of Duty since Call of Duty Ghost or whatever. Maybe he'll say something like that to
yeah.
contextualize it for us. I would be looking for something like that. I hope there's a dip in here. I hope
Oh,
gamers,
I
like
do
you said,
too.
aren't as stupid as we're saying.
Yeah,
But it'll be interesting to see kind of how this, especially after this one goes in, it goes through, and Microsoft just bought all that. Like how they're going to shepherd it now. Will they say like, okay, hold on, let's put a pause on Call of Duty? I doubt that's going to happen, but
Yeah.
how will they change up the formula? They being Microsoft. So yeah, I think this one will have some ripples, and we'll see. We'll see how it
Hmm.
goes.
Yeah, man.
Logan, I'm going to skip over the Spider-Man news item.
Okay.
We can maybe talk about that in the next episode. But I just want to say, lastly, the last news item before we get into the write-ins is that it looks like some really awesome Black Friday deals are incoming imminently. And the one that I'm seeing here that I saw that really caught my eye, and this is from a super, super reliable source. This guy named Bill Kuhn on Twitter. He talks about, he's over in the European market a lot. He's expecting a 150 euro discount on the Xbox Series X this holiday, which would
Hmm.
put the Xbox Series X at $350 or $400 at the cheapest this coming Black Friday. If that happens, it is time to get an Xbox Series X, friends. If you've been waiting for an excuse to get one, I think we're going to see some really, really good Black Friday deals. You're already starting to see some pack-ins, some games for the same price. Like you can get the Spider-Man to PS5 for $4.99. I saw things like that,
Hmm.
maybe even cheaper in some places.
Yeah.
But if you're waiting to get a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, I would hold off until these Black Friday deals
Yeah.
start coming around. You're going to see some steep discounts. So just
Yeah.
more of a PSA. I saw that. I'm like, dude, they're about to fly off the shelves.
Yeah,
Some
man.
of these consoles. So just wanted to shout that out. But Logan, we still got some patron write-ins, man.
We do, but I gotta ask you first, man, before
What's
we get
that?
into those. Is it time? Is it time for you to get an Xbox Series X, man?
Yeah, we'll see, dude. Money is tight right now. I mean, the economy is
Yeah.
just whipping me.
It's in the pooper. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I was really, really wanting to get one for Starfield, and then I kind of it didn't quite hit like I thought it might. Starfield, I mean. So I'm not sure. I do want to get one still. I don't know when I'm going to, but we'll see. That money's tight right now, man. We
Mm.
gotta,
I hear you. I hear you.
I gotta get my Alan Wake. I gotta get so many games.
True.
There's so many
True.
games coming out all the
True.
time. We'll see. I would love to get one, but I don't know. TBD. I'll
Fair
report
enough.
back soon.
Fair enough, man. Well, while we're waiting to hear on that, let's get over to our Patreon write-ins, rounding out the show with some write-ins from our patrons over on patreon.com/the reformed gamers. John Hannon writes in and says, recently I've seen some conversation around the way that entering into the field of game development has changed. The gist of it is that previously the majority of those fans who really wanted to contribute in some way to the games they loved would become modders and in many cases go on to actual careers in game dev. Whereas now, more often than not, those folks will instead turn towards content creation on YouTube or something similar. This doesn't seem so bad, but the argument is that it ends up reducing the number of creative individuals with fresh ideas actually becoming developers. I was hoping to get your thoughts on this topic. Now, before I get into this, I want to again state I am not super well informed. So the stuff I'm going to say is just
Well,
right off the cuff. But Michael, what do you think?
sure. Yeah. No, I'm a little bit in the same boat. I'm not sure exactly, or I should say, I'm not aware of exactly the phenomenon kind of John's explaining and stuff. But I mean, it makes sense what he's saying here. Um, I would say this: there's always kind of what I was going to or saying. I think in the pre-show about like companies, having layoffs and studios closing. Those guys are always going to come back around. Like the creativity isn't going anywhere.
Hmm.
Creatives are always going to exist. Or there's always going to be a new generation of creative people coming up as the tours kind of die away and stuff. Um, so I think that creativity is always going to kind of be out there and exist. And one overlooked aspect about just kind of getting into the business stuff is whether you're a modder doing something or like a YouTube creator like John says here, you're proving that you can like get to work and like you can
Hmm.
roll up your sleeves and you're not afraid of work and you can do a job and like get a thing done. which is valuable to like any employer or like developer that you go work for. So I think that stuff translates over kind of no matter what. Are you saying that people that are modders are more creative than YouTube creators? I mean, I don't know. Like that, creativity can come from any area. So
Mhm.
it takes all types to build a game. But as far as the specific angle, I don't know. I think it's I'm not worried about like a lack of creativity in video games. There's so many, like I've said a lot here recently. There's just so many games. I can't even play them all. I can't
Mhm.
play all the games I want to play. Yeah, I guess that's my kind of loose thoughts on it.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm reading through the writing again and just kind of thinking through some things. I mean, I could see how it's changed to the degree that like YouTube could almost be like an electronic portfolio of your work now, and you use that to get into the gaming industry, or maybe even, I mean, especially with Kickstarter being its own thing, you use that to make your own games. That could lead to the start of your own studio, those sort of things. Especially with the different like engines that are available, we're seeing more and more indie studios creating games. So I don't know if it's necessarily a decline in creative individuals. It's more so a decline in creative individuals going to the bigger studios that we're familiar with, and they're now starting their own smaller studios. I mean, look at Revelation Games, for example. With Jeff Simmons, they just uh, got their As When We Survive game kickstarted, fully funded, and they're working on a game. And there's definitely a lot of creativity there. It just may not be as well known because they're not at a bigger studio that we would be aware of. Again, I mean, Michael, like you said at the beginning of the show, in the pre-show, I mean, when it comes to video games like outlets, it's getting more to be more of an indie style thing where these bigger outlets are kind of fading away and shrinking, but the individuals or a small group of individuals are the ones that are growing and becoming the voices that people go to and listen to more regularly. And this might be something we see within the gaming industry too. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because, believe it or not, I mean, though the gaming industry has been around for so long, it's still relatively young to a degree. So I mean, we'll see kind of how it rides things out. But who knows? Maybe the next Kojima is at one of these indie studios. I mean, you
Yeah,
never know.
exactly. I was just thinking the exact same as the Miyamotos and the Kojimas and the Ken Levines start retiring and stuff. We're
Hmm.
gonna have fresh new blood that is
Yeah,
very creative. I don't. This is not something that I worry about too much,
yeah.
John. But yeah,
I mean, that's the
good
thing
right in.
too. I mean, if you make something really good, people will flock to it. I mean, word of mouth is pretty powerful, and so
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm not necessarily too worried about it either. But moving on to Alex Castellanos is right in. By the way, Alex, my guy, dude, I'm sorry to do this to you, but my guy, you have got to get past part one of Marvel Midnight Suns. We've been playing this game for a month, buddy. Stop doing all the side stuff. Okay. Okay. All right. We're good. Okay. Let me get to your right in. So, Jeff Keighley announced that all the 2023 Game Award nominees will be announced this coming Monday, which is the day that this episode will release, if not a little bit earlier. Knowing that, what are some categories that you are most interested in seeing? What will be the hardest categories to determine a clear cut winner besides Game of the Year, of course? And can you collectively agree on what the 6 Game of the Year nominees should be? Micah, man,
Ooh,
where do we want to start with this,
this
man?
is my favorite write-in of the week. Thank you, Alex. I love thinking about this kind of stuff and hypothesizing about nominees for Game of the Year and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's got a couple of questions in here. He says, "What are some of the categories that you're most interested in seeing?" For me, I always love seeing the best music, best
Okay.
score, whatever they want to, however they call it.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing that. I like seeing who gets best performance,
Mm-hmm.
like actual voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
I like that category. And then of course always looking at, best indie game. And then they have one also called best indie debut, like the first game that this studio has made.
Okay.
I like seeing those nominees,
Yeah.
and I'll be interested in that. I think, what will be the hardest categories to determine the clear cut winner? Best indie game.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be chock full. Oh my goodness, this year is absolutely nasty, as we've always as we've been saying all year, and we've talked about games like Dredge. You
Mm-hmm.
got Sea of Stars up in there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got there's so many good indie games. So yeah, that's going to be a hugely contested category. But yeah, how about you, Logan? Any thoughts there?
So I'm definitely looking at a lot of the categories that you mentioned, specifically the performance one, just because between Baldur's Gate 3 and Alan Wake 2, I'm like, dude, how do you choose between those two games alone? I
Ooh,
mean,
I would even toss in Ben Starr, who did the Final
yeah,
Fantasy 16.
dude, yeah, he was
Who
really
did
good as Clive.
Clive? He did great.
Yeah.
You could obviously toss out either Yuri Lowenthal or
Hmm.
I'm blanking on who voiced Miles. They
Hmm.
did great in Spider-Man,
Hmm.
obviously.
Hmm.
There's
Man,
going to be a lot.
it's hard to choose, man. Like this is again, this has been a juggernaut year for gaming, and I mean, with it has brought just some insanely good performances that it's like I don't know. I mean, I would say I'm glad I'm not the one that picking, but I mean, the Game Awards opens it to us picking, so I'm like, I'm gonna have to pick one sooner or later. So we'll
Yeah.
see how it goes. But there's one that I do look forward to, which is the what was it, Content Creator of the Year award. Um,
Hmm.
Not because I'm expecting myself to show up on there. I'm like, vote for me. No, this year specifically, I'm interested to see who it is because I want to know if Cozy Snap made the cut. He's a big content creator in the Marvel Snap space. He's one of my personal favorites just because his production value on his videos and just his general positive attitude is really good within that space. So I'm hoping he's on there because he would be my go-to pick. Out of
Considering that 2023 has been the year of Marvel Snap, I'd say he's got a good chance.
I would say so. I hope so. I hope so, man. But he deserves it. So yeah, those are the categories that I would be looking forward to and keeping an eye on. But man, this is going to be really fun.
Dude, I love the
Oh,
Game Awards. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Do you have
I,
something
I
else?
was gonna say, are we going to be able to collectively agree on the 6 Game of the Year
Well,
nominees?
I've got an idea because I don't think we're going to agree,
Okay.
but I want to. I want to go through an exercise.
Okay.
I've got what I think are about 12-ish games that I think could be nominated. I'm gonna
Okay.
say the name of the game, and I want you to give me a high, medium, low. Like this is a high chance of being nominated.
Okay.
This is a medium chance. Okay.
Okay. I like
Tears
all
of
the
the
gaming
Kingdom.
we're doing
Yeah,
this
yeah,
episode.
dude.
This
Let's
is
go.
fun. Tears of the
Tears of the
Kingdom
Kingdom.
high.
Okay, like is it a lock?
I would be shocked if that wasn't on
I
there.
think we can agree that is one of the six. I'll go ahead and put a check mark by it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
Spider-Man 2.
High.
Hi, is it a lock?
Yeah, I mean that's another one. I'm like, if I don't see it on there, I'd be very surprised.
Okay, we can't use too many of our locks.
It's
Okay,
true.
Super Mario Wonder.
Medium.
Oh, you don't think it's a high?
It could be a high.
I
It's.
think it's a high. I think it.
I'm gonna go
I'm
high.
not going to lock it in, but I would say high.
You guilted me into going to high.
Final Fantasy 16.
Medium.
Okay, Baldur's Gate 3.
I think, despite what some people may think, I think that one's high.
Okay, I think it is as well. I think that's a lock, if you ask me
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll keep going. Sea of Stars.
Mm, well, I'm medium on that one.
Okay, Starfield.
High.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Low.
Hogwarts Legacy.
Medium.
Diablo 4.
Medium.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Low.
Alan Wake 2.
I think that one, oh crap. That one's hard, dude. Because
This is what we're working with this
I
year,
know, what a
guys.
crazy year. I want to say high on Alan Wake too, because I feel like with Remedy having the pedigree it is, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like high for Alan
the,
Wake too.
the last two I have, I don't even know if would be considered because they're remakes. Resident Evil 4 and Dead Space. I don't think they would be
Yeah.
considered.
Yeah.
Is there any obvious game that I did not say?
No, I mean all the ones you said are all the ones because I went and wrote down like my 6 nominees that I would put on there, and I've got Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2, Hogwarts Legacy, Baldur's Gate 3, and Starfield.
That's your 6. Okay. I
Yeah.
think the ones I would say, And again, this isn't what I want. This is what I'm
Right.
predicting is going
Right.
to happen. It's going to be
Right.
Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Wonder, I think will be on there.
Mm-hmm.
Baldur's Gate 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Um, I think Sea of Stars will be on there.
Okay.
5, and then I need a sixth. I'll go Alan Wake 2 or Hi-Fi Rush
Okay.
is what I think it'll be. So
Okay.
we can't agree, Alex, but we're agreeing on Tears, Spider-Man, and Baldur's Gate. Did we say Baldur's Gate? We
Mm-hmm.
both have
Mm-hmm.
that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
so those three we think are a lock.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Okay. So yeah, we'll all find out
We'll
together on
find out.
Monday. The Game Awards are quickly turning into one of my favorite annual gaming events.
Especially after last year. I was like, dude, last year was really good.
Dude, it was. Remember, we got the Judas trailer last
Yeah.
year from Ken Levine, his new
Yeah.
game. Dude, if we get something kind of like that this year,
Was it was it last year that we also got Reformed Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton? Was that last
um,
year?
yeah. Yes.
Man, what a time. What a time. I just unlocked a memory for Micah.
No, I mean, it's just, yeah, that was it. we got to get a watch party going or
Yeah,
something
man.
for Game Awards.
Yeah, we'll get it going in the Discord for sure. 100%. 100%.
Oh man,
But
thanks,
yeah,
Alex. That was a good one.
that was definitely a good one. But with that being said, this episode of the Reform Gamers is coming to a close. And while I'm writing down the timestamp, I'm going to let you know that we wouldn't be an episode of TRG without some Reco. So, Micah, let's get into some Recos, man. What should our dear listeners check out?
Man, I'm copping out a little bit because I'm recommending our own stuff. But I got a story I wanted to tell. Really,
Okay.
is why I put this on the notes. I am recommending our own Discord, TRG Discord. Get up in there; it's awesome. We got a great community. We got lots of laughs. We got the gifts. We got the memes. We got the news. We got everything. And one of the best aspects about TRG is how we look after each other. We take care of each other. There's been numerous stories about how the community has come together to help people out in times of crisis, to help people out just when they're kind of feeling down. Consoles have been bought for people. Games have been gifted, all sorts of things. And the other day, I was in the Discord and I was kind of bummed out because I've been playing. Thanks to our old editor David Skinner, I've been playing a lot of Rock Band lately.
Mm,
He got me to bust my instruments out. I've been loving it. It's been great. But dang it, man, I broke my kick pedal the other
mm.
day.
Man, you were drumming too hard.
I was rocking too hard, and the plastic pieces on it just broke. And it's been several years. It's kind of makes sense. But I was talking about that in the Discord. Kind of bummed out. Anyway, a few days later, Skinner texts me in Discord. He's like, "Hey man, what's your address?" I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "I'm sending you a new kick pedal with a protection plan and stuff." I'm like, "Dude, what? You didn't
My
have to
guy.
do that." So I got this thing in the mail this past Sunday. Actually, it came on a
Nice.
Sunday, and dude, I'm like setting like new personal best high scores with this new kick pedal, man. It's
Nice.
awesome. So shout out Skinner, dude. You're the best. I really appreciate you, brother. And yeah, this, just having the Discord available, just being in the community, putting yourself out there. You get things like this sometimes. Not that, you should join it to get free stuff, but just love our community here. And just wanted to shout out Skinner, shout out that little story. And he saved my rock band drum career. So yeah.
Well, there you go, dear listeners. Join the TRG Discord, and you too might get a free kick pedal for your rock band gaming. No, I'm just kidding. TRG Discord is pretty dope. I gotta say, I'm really digging Discord here lately with how they're changing a lot of the. Like, I'm a style guy. They're adding a lot of like customization options for the look of your Discord and
Yeah.
how it functions and stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm digging this. I don't mind spending a couple extra dollars and getting a cool little avatar border thing for my account in there.
Yeah.
But no, Discord is a lot of fun, especially those of you that are still playing Marvel Snap. Hop on in there and let's talk about it. Or even if you want to check out the news, dude, I still can't get I feel like our news forum thing is one of the most underutilized things in that server. It's so good. It's so organized. I love it. Granted, I need to use it more, like posting stuff. But man,
Yeah,
I
I
love it.
usually like to hang out there too, and I need to get back into it.
It's good.
I was posting stuff for a while, and I've kind of gotten off of it. But
Yeah,
yeah, I love the news
yeah.
portion of the
It's a good
Discord as
time.
well.
It's a good time. Gosh dang it, dude. Discord is so cool. My recos are. I mentioned one earlier. It's Donkey Video Game Donkeys GTA video, just going over the different rumors and teases and stuff for GTA 6 over the past 10 years. It's actually really funny, especially in showing how people get their hopes up and look at almost anything as an Easter egg for the next game. But I get it when people are excited for something, it happens. And speaking of that, this leads into my other reco, which taps into a whole other demographic that probably doesn't even listen to this podcast. But it's another group of people that like to comb through everything this person puts out in an attempt to, as they say, clown and look for Easter eggs as to what she will do next. And she just put out, or not really, yeah, she just re-released her 1989 album. That's Taylor Swift's Taylor's version of 1989. I gotta say, man, I've become a Swiftie over the past couple months, and I don't regret it. Her music, look, people will hate on her music, but man, I'm convinced people who hate on her music just haven't listened to it. I was listening to that album on repeat, and I was like, you know what? Let me go listen to some of her other stuff. And I started listening to her Evermore album, and I'm like, holy crap, this is actually really like well written and makes me cry a little bit. Like, wow, this is cool. Good job, Taylor Swift. So there's a reason she's kind of the hot thing right now, where she's on the like tip of everyone's tongue at the moment because people are talking about her. Yeah, definitely go check her music out. If you have a Spotify account, put on her private session so people don't see what you're listening to. Go listen to some of her stuff. If you don't like it, fine. If you wind up getting addicted to it, you're welcome. Enjoy.
And all you tough guy football fans have an excuse now to go listen
Mm-hmm.
to Taylor Swift now
Yeah,
that she's dating Travis Kelce.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, you don't have to feel bad about it.
I mean, hey, especially those of you that are single and you're looking to mingle, what better way than to combine two interests, your football and the girls' music? I'm just saying. I'm just trying to, I don't know, dude. I'm bad at this. But yeah, no, those are my two recos. As always, we've been TRG. Thank you for listening to this episode of TRG. As always, if you like what we do here at the show, you can support the show financially over at patreon.com. You can get yourself early, uncut access to all of our episodes, extra episodes of the show, and more as well. But if you'd like to support the show other ways, because you're saving money, trying to get some of those games, you got Super Mario RPG coming out soon, you're saving up your money for it. I get it. You can support the show by doing a couple other things. You can go to youtube.com/thereformedgamers, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, leave a comment, share the videos, all that fun stuff. And even just leaving the videos up while you're working or something like that and listening to the show helps out with watch time and things of that nature. You can go to our website, thereformedgamers.com, get extra resources there. You can follow us on Twitter and interact with us on there, or you can join our Discord server and join the community and hang out with other dear listeners as well, and get your very own kick pedal for your Rock Band gaming. But with that being said, thank you again for listening to this episode of The Reformed Gamers. And until next time, be a dear, keep it locked here, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to TRG. The show is fully supported over on patreon.com by our dear listeners. The following are our supporters at the producer level or higher, and we are thankful for their continued support that allows us to continue doing what we do here at TRG. Those people are Mr. Butts, David Matthews, Richard Marroquin, and Alan Z. Thank you again for your continued support over on patreon.com, where you can pledge your support to the show and get early uncut access to all of our episodes, behind the scenes, and more. Thank you for listening, and until next time, be a dear, keep it locked here. We'll see you in the next episode.